Okay, good morning to everyone. Till the in the previous classes, we have discussed about the OSI layers, OSI, the 7 layers in the OSI model. And in the OSI model, inside this 7 layers, we have discussed the 4 layers. That is the functions of the physical layer, and then the functions of the data link layer, functions of the network layer, and the functions of the uh, transport layer. All these 4 layers we have discussed, and others layers, that is the session layer, then presentation layer and application layer. Today we will discuss first about that. So the 5th layer that is present from the bottom is the session layer. Now, what is the functions of this session layer? What are basically the functions of this session layer? There are mainly 2 functions present in the session layer. The session layer only maintains that. One is dialog control and another was in synchronization. So what is dialog control? Dialog control is the session layer give permission to maintain a dialogue between 2 systems. Means session layer gives some permission. Session layer gives some permission to maintain a dialogue between 2 systems. Now, what is this dialogue? This dialogue is basically the transmission mode. What type of a transmission mode should we use between the 2 systems, and the 2 systems which are communicating, which type of dialogue or the transmission mode it should be used? The session layer maintains that. Now we know what is the transmission mode. There are 3 types of transmission mode, but in case of dialogue we uses the 2 type of transmission mode, half duplex or full duplex. Now, when the 2 system is communicating, the 2 systems will communicate each other in the same time slot simultaneously, or the 2 system can communicate. Either one system is communicating, the other system will receive, and in next time slot, the other system will send the data and the system will receive. So what type of dialogue it should be used, or what type of transmission mode it should be used, is decided by the session layer. Okay, so if dialogue can be of 2 types, half duplex, that is one way at a time. When one system is communicating, the other system will only receive. And in case of next time slot, the other system which is receiving at the first time slot will send the data, and the system which is sending in the first time slot will receive the data in the next time slot. Sorry. And in the full duplex, for full duplex communication, the 2 systems will communicate with each other at same time slot. So what type of transmission mode, half duplex or full duplex, used by the 2 system will be decided by or maintained by the session layer. It is basically the dialog control. And next function is the synchronization. This function is also maintained by the session layer. It is to allow the certain checkpoints. Now, what it synchronization is basically is, suppose we are sending some data. Means suppose there is a message is sending. We divided them into segments. Now you can see here, there is a total message. In a picture, you can see there is a total message. And we divided this message into 3 parts. You can see not 3 parts. We have divided this message into 10 parts. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we are using that after 3 segments, there a checkpoint will be added. You can see after 3 segments, there is a checkpoint is added. So when this will be transmitted, or when it will be transmitted in the receiving side, one after one, the segments will be captured or the segments will be received. After the segment is received, like first 3 segments are done. Receiver received the first 3 segments. After that, you can see a checkpoint is added. So this checkpoint will go to the receiver side, means transmitted to the receiver side. Then we can say, after that, the receiver get the 3 segments and the checkpoints. So that time, receiver will send an acknowledgement to the sender that the 3 segments which you have sent are already transmitted to me. Means I received all the 3 segments and also the checkpoints. So the sender will understand that all the 3 segments it sent are correctly received by the receiver. And it ensures that then sender will ensures that the segment is successfully transmitted. So that's why it added a certain checkpoints. So after there, I am using the 3 segments. Like it is possible that after 2 segments, a checkpoint is added. So when the checkpoint will be transmitted, then the receiver acknowledge to the sender that it received the segments and the checkpoints. That means the certain segments are reached to the receiver side correctly. That's why receiver send the acknowledgement to the sender. So the sender will ensure that the segment is successfully transmitted to the receiver side. That's why the checkpoint is added. So this is the synchronization process. It is add some certain checkpoints. So these are the basically 2 functions of the session layer. One is synchronization and another one is the dialog control. Okay. So after session layer, there is a presentation layer present. Now, what is the purpose of this presentation layer? Presentation layer deals with the syntax and semantics of information exchange between the 2 systems. Means the information, the syntax used in the information, and it is exchanged between them. Presentation layer deals about that. Now, the functions of the presentation layer is that there are total 3 functions. One is translation, another one is encryption, decryption, and another one is compression. So what is translation? Translation is basically the process that is present on the 2 systems. The process that is present on the 2 systems exchange information. The process that is present on the 2 systems exchange information in the format of characters, strings, numbers, etc. Basically, that the 2 systems are communicating in the process of the 2 systems are communicating in the human readable format. The process that is present on the 2 systems are communicating with each other and using the format that is used is the human readable. That is why that they are exchanging like character, string, number, etc. But before transmission, those things should be changed because the transmission from a process to process goes with the bit of stream. So that's why what you have used, character, string, numbers, or any human readable format, what you have used should be changed in the bit of stream, because the process of the 2 systems will communicate with using the bit of streams. So basically, the character, strings, numbers will be converted into the bit of streams. Usually communication between the 2 systems generally occurs in the form of bits. So that's why it should be converted. Whatever human readable format you have used, it should be converted in the bit of stream. Otherwise, because actual communication between a 2 systems occur using the form of bits. So if user type in a string, like as a user, you are typing in a string form, then the string should be converted first into bit form. And after that, the transmission should occur. So the translation in which type will be converted, the main translation, which type it will be converted, how it will be converted, using which algorithm it should be converted. Now, the string is converted like the user type a string. So before sending to the receiver, then what it should be done? It should be converted into the what? In the form of bits. So basically in which type it will be converted, or how it will be converted, using which algorithm it should be converted. These are the decided by the presentation layer. So in simple words, we can say converting a message to the compatible bit stream. The functions of the presentation layer translation is the what? Converting a message that is such that should be sent from sender to receiver. This message should be what? Converted to the compatible bit form. Otherwise, the communication shouldn't be able or occurred. So this is the functions of the translation. So translation means simple words, converting a message to a compatible bit stream. This is the function, first function. Another function is the encryption decryption. Now, this is the property related to the network security, encryption and decryption. Now, like, what is the encryption? When the sender is sending some data to the receiver, like in a communication, sender is sending some data to the receiver. Then, in this communication channel, it is very much unsecure, that there may be some person present in this communication channel will try to unauthorized accessing your data. So unauthorized access, when sender sends data to the receiver, then this unauthorized user, what he or she will do? He or she will either in this communication channel, from this communication channel, either he or she will take the data which you are sending from the sender sends the data to the receiver. That data they may take, or they can change the data, so that what happens, the sender sends some data, the user, what the receiver get some other data, but user or sender doesn't know each other, because through communication channel the data is gone, but there is some persons present who will unauthorized access the data. He or she might only take the message, or he or she will change the message. So what? This is the unauthorized access. So for security purpose, what? Encryption and decryption technique is used. So when sender will send the data, we say that this is the plain text or the simple message. Then what? Through encryption, he will convert the simple message, or we can say it is the plain text, to the simple message to the cipher text. Now this cipher text is of encryption mode. Through encryption, the plain text to be converted to the cipher text. So now, after encryption, when the sender is sending the data, he or she what? Encrypted the data. Now the plain text means the message he or she is sending, it converted into the cipher text. So what? Now the unauthorized access cannot access that particular data, because to access that particular data, he or she have to what? He or she have to, a key should be present so that he can unlock the message. But he or she couldn't able to access that. So the message will go, and in case in receiver side, what receiver will do? Receiver will decrypt that message. Receiver will particularly decrypt that message and converted this message to the normal text which the sender is sends. Like if when there is a, like if we virtually think, then what we can virtually think, that when the sender is sending like the data, that data is packed into the suitcase. Now, and packed, after the data is packed into a suitcase, he or she locked the suitcase. So that the suitcase in the data, that the data that contains this in the suitcase will go through the communication channel, And the receiver side, what the receiver will do? Receiver will, using the key, unlock that suitcase and get the message. But the unauthorized access which is going on between them, they cannot access that message because they have not the key present to them. So how they can unlock the message then? So this is the encryption and decryption technique. In encryption technique, the message is converted into the plain text to cipher text and sent to the communication channel. So the unauthorized access, whoever doing the unauthorized access, doesn't able to take that message. And in the receiver side, the decryption happens. In this decryption, the cipher text is converted to the plain text. So the original message which the sender sends are securely go through this communication channel, and the receiver side, the receiver will get that particular message which the sender have sent. And there is no unauthorized access occurred between them. Now, in this encryption techniques, there are some encryption algorithm present, which we will discuss in the when we will know the network security. When we will go to the network security, there you can see there are two types of key present: public key encryption and private key encryption. Now, what is the one thing that the public key encryption is? The key through which the message is encrypted, that particular key is present, or that particular key is needed to decrypt the message. Means the same key through encryption and decryption perform. But in private key, the encryption and decryption key is different. The key through which encryption is done and the key through which decryption is done should be different. So it will know when we will see the security, network security. In that time, you will able to see what is the public key cryptography and private key cryptography. But basically, encryption and decryption is basically that converting the plain text to the cipher text in the sending side, so that the unauthorized access cannot happen, and decryption is done in the receiver side to get the original message what the sender has sent. And here the message is converted into cipher text to plain text. Clear? It is clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And another functions of the presentation layer is the compression technique. Now, in this compression technique, the bits are compressed. The presentation layer does the compression technique. Through compression technique, the bits are compressed because we want uses of bandwidth become low, because we tried that our bandwidth becomes low, the required bandwidth become low, so that we can able to send the message for transmission. That's why we have compressed the bit. But one thing you should have mind during the compression, that the original message doesn't be changed during the compression. The compression is basically compressing the bit that are present in the message, compressing the bit that are present in the message. So why it is done? It is done for because it will require low bandwidth. If the bits are compressed, then it will take low bandwidth. So that's why we will do this process, that the bits are compressed. But during the bit compression, it doesn't affect the message. That means the message gets changed during the bit compression. It should not happen. So during reducing the bit, you have to take in mind that the information cannot be changed. So the compression technique, the presentation layer used is the bit compression technique for the original message, so that the original message, if the bits are compressed of the original message, then it will require low bandwidth for transmission. So that's why compression technique is used. But during reducing the number of bits, you should have in the mind that the information cannot be changed. The information as it is must be same, but only the bits are compressed. Clear? So these are the functions of the presentation layer. The presentation layer works like this. Okay, so these are the basically three functions of the presentation layer. And now our last layer that is present is the application layer. Now what the application layer does, now if we see what the application layer does, application layer basically, what application layer do? Application layer basically, it enables the user, human or software, any of it, means enables the user to access the network. Application layer is basically responsible for providing functions. That is, it enables the user that is present should access the network. The user can access the network. Basically, to access the network, the number of software and protocols needed is presented on the application layer. All the software and the protocols that is needed are presented on the application layer so that the user can access the network. So its functions all will be related based on the software and protocols needed. So there are four functions: network virtual terminal. It is the software version of a physical terminal, means through which user can log in on the remote host. So user can access to remote system or the remote host. Then file transfer, access and management, email services, directory services, all these software related parts, so that the user can access the network. User can access the network. All these functions are done by the applications layer. Means the software and protocols, all the software and protocols needed for the communications are present on this application layer. Application layer basically, what the functions of it, its physical function is to access the network. So here we are using that there are four functions: network virtual terminal. Through this, a user can access to the remote host, means a user can access to the remote system, or the file transfer, like what the file transfer are done using the internet services. This application layer is basically responsible for that. And the email services, directory services, each are done in this application layer. So these are the 7 layers, the communication between two systems. These are the 7 layers and present, and each layer performs a task. Each layer performs a task. And this 7 layer, both should be, if two systems are communicating, this 7 layers formula, and we can say this 7 layer framework should be presented on both systems. Otherwise, this communication shouldn't be happen. So these are the 7 layers of the OSI model, or open system interconnection. Clear? So now, if we see the abbreviation, if we see the abbreviation of each functions, then what? The application layer function is for network accessing. Presentation layer function is encryption, decryption, compression, translation. Session layer to manage sessions, means dialogue, synchronization. Using this function, session layer performs this function. Transport layer, the process to process delivery, it is done by the transport layer. Network layer, what the network layer do? Source to destination. Now for source to destination, what are the functions that is present? That is logical addressing, routing, all of this present. Source to destination. Data link layer, what? Data link layer done, it converts the message, it converts the stream of bits to frame. And the other function is flow and error control. And What are the presentation layer function? Presentation layer functions is to detect the transmission mode, data rate, the transmission mode, the transmission media, whichever should be used during the communication. It looks over that. So this is the OSI model. Each layer functions abbreviation format. So it is clear to everyone the OSI model's functions. Anyone has any question?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is the OSI model. Each layer functions abbreviation. Now, one by one, we will briefly describe one by one. We will details now. Here I have already discussed all the layer functions, but the functions are briefly described. One by one, we will see the total descriptions of the each layer functions. And this is the total syllabus. This is the total syllabus of the networking. Each layer details description. So already physical layer, we have already physical layer. I have shown to you the physical layer functions. Because of physical layer, it defines different type of transmission media. So we have already seen the different types of transmission media presented, that is wireless and wired media, and the details of the wireless and wired media we have already seen. The next functions is the define the type of encoding to be used. Data are encoded in 0 format. This is also shown. The data rate. Next, the synchronization of bits, line configuration, or line configuration point to point or the multi-point, which communication should be used. We have already shown that. Then the physical topology, the 5 topologies that are present. Our what 5 topologies that are present? Bus, star, mesh, tree, star, ring, all these 5 topologies that is present. We have already seen this. And the transmission mode, the 3 type of transmission mode: simplex, half duplex, and full duplex. So the presentation layer is already covered. So we will next start from the data link layer. Now, basically, when I have said that discuss the data link layer, then I have said that the most important functions of the data link layer is the flow and error control. So first we will see what is an error control. Now, and this, how the error are controlled, the mechanism that is used for error control, the algorithms that is used for the error control, we will see today. Okay. So first we will see the details of the data link layer. Now, what the data link layer is the second layer. Data link layer is the second layer for bottom, from bottom. It is the second layer. And what? Every layer presented in the OSI model, it should, in mind, you always keep it in your mind that each layer in a system, each layer in the OSI model will receive the service from its lower layer, and it will provide the service to its upper layer. Means each layer, this is the basic functions for each layer, that it will receive the service from its lower layer and provide the service to its higher layer or upper layer. So that means we are calling that the data link layer. So the data link layer will receive the service from where? Receive the service from data link layer will receive the service from the physical layer. And in which layer it will provide the service? Data link layer will provide the service to the network layer. Sorry, it is wrongly written that in presentation layer, it should be physical layer. So data link layer should receive the service from its lower layer, that is the physical layer, and provide the service to its upper layer, that is the network layer. Okay. So This is the main service. Now we'll see the error detection and correction. Now, how an error control mechanism works. So first, to know the error detection and correction, first we have to know what is error. Now, how an error occurs? Like during the transmission from sender and receiver, there is in the communication channel, a noise is introduced. And now through this noise, the binary bits get changed. Through this introduce of noise during the transmission, the binary bits get changed. Means like the zero which are present binary bits is changed to 1 and the 1 is changed to 0. So this is the error, that during transmission from sender to receiver, the bit, we know that through bit of stream, the message is passed. We have already seen it in the presentation layer, the translation, that whatever the communication should be, the communication should be what? The communication, basically communication should be on the stream of bits. So that's why when one system is communicating to other system through a communication channel, there may a situation occur that the noise is introduced, and this noise, what it becomes, that the bits which are transmitting from sender to receiver, in that case, 0 is changed to 1 and the 1 is changed to 0. Then the error occurs. Now there are two types of error present. There are two types of error present. One is single bit error and another one is burst error. Two types of error present, single bit error and the burst error. So in the single bit error means, from the name you already know, from already guessed, that one bit of data unit has changed. That's why it is called single bit error. During transmission, one bit of data is changed. Now you can see when in the sender side, the sender is sending this bit 1011 0010. Now this data is transmitted, but during the noise is introduced in the communication channel, the bits get changed and it becomes 1011 0000. That means you can see from here, it is 1 and it is 0. So that means we can say that the error occurs. So during the error occurring, the bit gets changed. So this is the single bit error. And burst error is in this 2 or more bits in the data units changed. Means 2 bit, more than 2 bits of data unit has changed. Like if we are sending 1011 0010. In the sending side, this message is data is transmitted. But when it received by the receiver, receiver is received 1011 1001. So now you can see there are 3 bits error is present. What are the 3 bits? This 0 get changed as a 1. This 1, this 1 is changed to 0, and this 0 is changed to 1. So you can see 3 bit error is present in this message. So if more than 2 bits data unit changed, then we call it as a burst error. Okay, so this type of 2 error present, either error of the 1 bit or the error of more than 2 bits, 2 or more than 2 bits. This 2 type of error is present. Now, error detection and correction method. Now, in this error detection and correction method, we will able to know the error, that the error is generated. But one thing you should have in mind, that through error detection and correction, using error detection and correction, we wouldn't be able to know in which point the error occurred or the location in which the error occurred. We only able to know that the error is occurred. Only this thing we able to know that the error is occurred. But error detection and correction method have a limitation, that it cannot say in which location the error is occurred. only the error is occurred, it will say that the error is occurred. We only able to know that. But in which location or which point the error is occurred, this cannot be done through the error detection and correction method. So first we will see the error detection method. Okay. In error correction, we will able to know that in which point or which location the error is occurred. After knowing the position, we will correct that position. The error should be corrected in that position. But in error detection, only error is detected. That means the error is present in the data, that which is transmitted. Now, error detection are of two types of method in used here: parity checking and the two-dimensional parity checking. Now, what is the parity checking? In this, an extra bit is added to the each word before transmitting. Means a word, when the data is transmitted, an extra bit is added to that data during the transmission. There are two types of parity. One is even parity and odd parity. Even parity is the number of ones in the given word. The number of words present in the given word, including the parity bit, should be even. Means including the parity bit, the total message, if the number of ones is even, then we can say it is the even parity. And what is the odd parity? Odd parity is basically the number of ones in the given word, including the parity,